Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay. So in the yesterday's session we have started with the arrays. Okay, so we have seen, or let's just recap. I will remove all these things. Okay, so see, array, we already know the array is used to store the homogeneous element. Okay, homogeneous means similar kind of elements. Let's suppose we want to store some integer values, then we can use the array to store the integer value. Or if you want to store the character, then you can use the character array, and all the elements in that array will be of type character. Okay, so when you want to store the homogeneous elements, then you can use the array. Okay, and how to create the array? For that you have to use the type of the array. Let's suppose we want to create the integer array, so here I will use the type of the array, then this brackets. Okay, after that you can give the name of the array. Okay, and then to create the array we use new keyword. Okay, and then int, and then the brackets. Okay, so this way you can create the array. And whenever you create the array, that time you have to mention the size of the array. Okay, so how much elements will be there in your array? So let's suppose we have the size of array as a 4. Okay, so in this array 4 elements will be there. Okay, now this way you can initialize the array. After that, or declare the array. Okay, after that, when you want to put the elements inside this array, so currently we have created the array. So if we open this one, so see here what will happen. Here one array will get created. Okay, the size is 4, so here we have 4 elements, and as we have not assigned any value to the particular element in this array, all the elements will be defaulted as a 0. Okay, and here the name of the array is array. Now let's suppose I want to add or insert the first element in this array. Okay, so to access the elements in the array we have to use the index, and the index of the array always start with 0. So here for the first element the index will be 0, for the second element index will be 1, then for the third element it will be 2, and then 3. Okay, so index will always start with 0 in the array. Okay, now let's suppose I want to insert the value here as a 1. Okay, so how we can insert? We have to use the name of the array. So name of the array is array, and then you can use the brackets, and here you have to mention at which index you want to insert the value. So now let's suppose I want to insert here. Okay, so I will write the index as a 0. So at 0th index I want to insert the value as a 1. Now this 0 will be replaced with 1. Okay, after that let's suppose I want to insert the value for this index 1. So here you can write array of, and here you have to mention the index. So at index 1 the value will be 2. Let's suppose you can insert any value. Okay, so same way you can insert the values for all the elements in the array. Now whenever you want to access the value, or whenever you want to print the value, that time also by using this index only you can print. So let's suppose here we have inserted the value 1, then here we have inserted the value 2. Okay, let's suppose here 3 and here 4. Now you want to access this value. So how you will access? You have the name of the array and you know the index of the, like, index of each element. So now you want to access the value 3, which is placed at index 2. So you can write array of, here you can mention the index. So if you just s out or print this, you will get the output as a 3. Okay, so this way you can insert the elements in the array, and this way you can access the elements as well. Okay, now let's see how we can do. So very first, come out of the drawing mode. Okay, so now here I want to insert the element at 0th position as 1. Okay, then element at first position as a 2, then maybe at second position it will be 3, and then at the third position it will be 4. Okay, so now as our size of array is 4, I have initialized all the elements. Okay, now I want to print this element. So how we can print? System.out.println, and here let's suppose I want to print the element which is at index 0. So here you will see the output as a 1, because at index 0 you have the value 1. Okay, so let's execute it and see. So see here, you will get the output as a 1. Okay, now let's suppose you want to print all the elements. So how you can print? The same way, you have to mention, let's suppose here you can write s out and then array of 1. So now it will access the element which is at index 1. Okay, so same way you can print all other index as well. So s out array of 2, then maybe s out array of 3. Okay, so now if I save and execute, you will get all the elements. See here, 1 2 3 4. Okay, so this way you can create the array and print all the elements. Okay, now let's suppose, okay, so here you know that the size of the array is 4. Okay, and now if you want to insert the element at fourth position, so let's suppose array of 4, and here I will write 5. Okay, so if I try to insert the element at the fourth position, means if we open this one, okay, and delete all these things. So see here, let's suppose here what we create, we have created one array. Okay, so this is our array of size 4. So 1 2 3 4, and elements we have inserted the first element as a 1, then second as a 2, then third as a 3, and then 4. So indexes, like here it will be 0 index, then 1 index, then 2 index, and then 3 index. Okay, so now at line number 9, what we are trying to do, we are trying to insert the element at the fourth position, and if you see here, we don't have any index called 4. Okay, so last index of our array is 3. So you can insert the element only till the last index of your array. Okay, so here the index of array is 3, so you only insert the element till this point. Now if you try to insert the element at a out of index, okay, then here maybe you will get the exception. Okay, so let's just remove this and save and execute the program. See what exception you get. See here, array index out of bound exception. Why it is giving array index out of bound exception? Because what is the boundary of your array? You have mentioned it at, is that the index size or this size of the array is 4. It means you can insert only 4 elements, but you are trying to insert the fifth one. Okay, so which is not possible. So in this scenario you will get the exception array index out of bound exception. So this is very much famous exception. You should know when this exception came. And now if we got the exception, how we can resolve this exception? See, if you try to read the exception, you will see that exception in thread main java.lang package. What is the exception? Array index out of bound exception. Here it is saying that index 4 out of bound for length 4, means your length of the array is 4 and you are trying to insert the element at a fourth index, which is not possible. Here it is giving the line number as well, at which line you did the mistake. So here at line number 9 you have did, or you have tried to insert the element which is out of your boundary. Okay, so that's the reason you are getting array index out of bound exception. So if you just comment this line, save and execute the program, that exception will be gone. See here, see now you will see all the elements. Okay, so if you get any time that exception, you should know what is the root cause of the exception. Okay, so I hope you have understood now the array concept. Okay, now let's see, let's suppose you want to create some other type of array. Let's suppose you want to create the string array. So how you can create that? You can just write the type of array, which is string, then same this brackets, okay, square brackets, and then here you can mention maybe array, or let's give the name as a names, and here you have to write new string. Okay, here also you need to mention the size of the array. So let's suppose here I want to insert the 5 names. Okay, so this way you can create the string array. Same wise, if you want to create the character array, you just have to change the type of the array. Okay, then the character array will get created. Okay, now the another way to create the array, if you don't want to use this new keyword, then how you can create the array? Okay, let's suppose, let's just remove this thing, and here I want to create one integer array. Let's suppose int array, and here we already know, like this way we can create the array. That is one way. Okay, here let's suppose the size will be 5, but now you don't want to use the new keyword, and directly you want to initialize all the values to this array. So how you can do? Let's comment this, come to the next line. So here you will write the same thing, integer array is equal to, and here instead of writing array of 0 and then assigning the value to that index, we can write here the brackets. Okay, and here you can directly assign the value. Let's suppose 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so if you try to initialize the values this way, then internally Java will create this thing for you. Like internally it will write new int, and it will see how many elements we have. Let's suppose we have 5 elements, so it will internally here write this way, new int, and here maybe 5 elements. Okay, so if you try to add some more elements here, then first it will count how many elements we have. We have, let's suppose 3 plus 3 6 plus 1 7. So here it will add this way, new int 7. Okay, now if you want to print some elements, then same way you can do sout array of, let's suppose 2. So at the second index, which element we have? 0th index 1, first index 2, and then second index 3. So here your output will be 3. If I save and execute, you will get the output. See here, 3. Okay, so this is the another way of creating the array. Okay, internally it will be the same thing, but if you want to create this way, then also you can write. Okay, so in one line you can just declare the array, you can initialize it, and you can just print also in the second line. Okay, so that is the another way. And now let's suppose you want to print, or you want to know the size of the array. Okay, so how you can do? For that you just have to write array dot, and we have the length method. Okay, so see here, but for the arrays we don't write the method this way. Okay, so this is one thing you just need to keep in your mind. For the arrays we just have to write length attribute. Okay, see here, this way you don't have to mention this method symbol, because all the methods in the Java we write this way. Okay, see here, main is the method, so we have written this brackets here. Okay, even if you want to write any other method, how you can write? Like void, maybe test method I want to write, so void test, and here we will write the brackets, and then only it will consider it as a method. Okay, but length is the method of the array, but you don't have to use the this symbol, method symbol. Okay, so that is one thing you just keep in your mind. If we save and run the program, you will see the length of the array will get printed here. See, length of the array is 7 because in this array we have inserted 7 elements. Okay, so that's it about the arrays. Anyone have any question not able to understand? Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone? Yes. Okay, so now if you are clear with the arrays, okay, then maybe we can start with the this one, the control statements. Okay, so in the introduction of the Java or basic or fundamentals of the Java, we have maybe 4 5 concepts. Okay, very first one was this one, the features or why Java, how it works internally. Okay, after that the second one was the variables or identifiers, then maybe data types. Okay, and after that we have seen this casting thing, and then the last one, okay, which is come under the introduction or basics of the Java, is this one, the control statements. Okay, now once we are done with the control statements, then our basic or foundation of the Java will be done. By that time you know that what is Java, how to write the simple programs in the Java, you know the syntax of the Java. Okay, once we are done with these conditional statements and loops, then we will start exploring the advanced concepts of the Java, like class, object, then oops concept. Okay, so we are going to start that once we are done with the conditional statement. So now let's spend maybe today or tomorrow's class on the conditional statement, and after that we will freshly start with the oops concepts in the Java. Okay, so now let's go to the IntelliJ. So see here, very first in the conditional statements we have if condition, then if else, nested if else if, and switch. Okay, and after that we have loops as well. Okay, so in the loops we have like for loop, do while loop. Okay, so we will see that. So very first let's start with the conditional statements. Okay, so now if I open my IntelliJ, so here see, if condition or if control statement, why we use it? Okay, so whenever you have to perform some condition check, okay, and based on the result if you want to write some logic, then you can use the if or else conditions. Okay, for example let's suppose I have the statement like if student percentage if student percentage is greater than 35, then he will be passed, right? And if it's less than 35, then he will be failed. Okay, so this is the statement we have. Okay, so based on this, just a minute. So based on this statement, what we have written here, like this one, so based on the percentage we are getting to the conclusion that student is passed or failed. Okay, so if the percentage is greater than 35, then maybe he will pass. If the percentage are not greater than 35, then the student will be failed. Okay, so this is very much simple statement. Now let's understand how we can write the same in the Java language. Okay, so let's just come out of this drawing mode, and here let's suppose I have int percentage. Okay, and let me give it as maybe 45. Okay, so let's just minimize it. So maybe initially let's give the percentage as 45. Okay, now we will check if the percentage of student is greater than 35, then we will consider it as that student is passed. If it is less than 35, then that student will be failed. Okay, so how we can write the if statement? So here you can use if keyword, After that, here you have to mention the condition. Okay, so here what is the condition? Condition is that if the percentage is greater than 35. Okay, so this will be your condition which you have to write inside the if. Okay, then if this condition is satisfied, or if the condition is true, then only it will come inside your if loop, and whatever thing you want to do or whatever logic you want to write, that you can write in the if condition. Now let's suppose here I want to say if the percentage are greater than 35, then that student is passed. Okay, so if I save this, and now if you see the percentage are 45, which is greater than 35, so it will come inside the if and it will print pass. So let's save and execute this, and you will see the result as a pass. Okay, why? Because percentage are greater than 45. Okay, so see here it is saying the student is passed. Okay, now if you see here, if I change the value of the percentage from 45 to 25, and if I save this, okay, so now here if you see the percentage is 25, which is not greater than 35. Now in this case it should print failed. Okay, so but if we write only if condition, it will not print anything. If we save and execute, you will see in the console we don't get any result. Okay, see here it is empty. So if you have the condition and where you want to check if the condition is true, then do this thing. If the condition is false, then do these things. Okay, so in that case you can write else. So if percentage are greater than 35, then it is passed. If the percentage are not greater than 35, then it will come to the else loop. Okay, and then inside the else, let's print that the student is failed. Okay, so now in this case the percentages are 25, so 25 greater than 35. So if here we see 25 is greater than 35, so this statement will be false. Why? Because 25 is lesser than 35, so this condition will not satisfied. So directly your cursor will come to line number 7 at else. Okay, and then whatever you have written inside the else, that thing will get printed. So in this case we will get the result as a failed. Okay, so let's execute and see. See here we are getting the result as a failed. Okay, so this way you can write the if else conditions. Okay, now another way is that, see here in the if condition, okay, if you have only one statement, in the if condition if you have only one statement, then you don't have to write this curly brackets as well. We can remove all these curly brackets. Okay, but when you have only one statement inside the if condition, so see if percentage greater than 35, then only one line you have, which is system.out.println pass. So if you are not writing the curly brackets, then it will consider the first line. If you have any other line here, let's suppose here I have some test. Okay, so see as soon as you write the second line, it will give the error, because the syntax of the if will be like this, right? And if you have only one statement, then maybe you can skip the brackets, but if you have more than one statement, then you always need to write this brackets. Okay, so that is one thing you can just keep in your mind. Now this is about the if else statement. Okay, now inside this if you can write another if else as well. Okay, so let's suppose if the percentage is greater than 35, okay, then here you can write the another statement, and here we will see if the percentage are greater than maybe 60 or greater than 65. Okay, so if your percentage are greater than 35. See, very first statement I have written, if percentage greater than 35, it means you are passed. Okay, now let's come inside and check how much percentage student got. Let's suppose student percentage is 65. It means student got first class. So here I will print first class, right? Then here we can write else. If it is not greater than 65, then maybe we can just write student passed. Okay, so this way, if you have to write the if else statement inside the if, then also it is possible. Okay, even the same thing you can write in the else as well. Okay, so this way of coding you will see maybe when you work in the companies. Okay, so inside the if you will see so many if else. Okay, based on the different conditions that the statements will get executed. So now let's suppose here I have the marks as a 80. Okay, let's save this. Now let's keep the debugger here. Okay, I will just debug the program just to see just to make you understand how it is working. Okay, so let's start the debugger. As soon as start the program in the debug mode, very first the debugger will come at line number 4. Okay, see now. Here if you see, the percentage is 80 and now 80 is greater than 35. Now if you see the value of this expression, okay, so let's go here and evaluate and see here the result is true. Why it is true? Because 80 is greater than 35. Now as your condition is satisfied, your debug will come to the next line which is inside your if condition. So let's go to the next line. See now, here we got, here the percentage is 80 which is greater than 65. Okay, so this condition is also true. If you want to see the result, you can just evaluate the expression here and see result is true, right? Now as this condition satisfied, it will come inside this if as well. So if we go to the next line, here it came, and now in the console if you see, we don't have anything yet. As soon as I go to the next line, it will print first class. Okay, now as your this if condition satisfied, it will not come to the else, and even it will not come to this else. Okay, so that way your if else or if else inside the main if will work. Are we clear till this point, everyone? Anyone have any question? No. Okay, okay, so perfect. Now the another way is that, let's suppose, let's remove this thing. Okay, and here let's print I am passed. Okay, our student is passed. Okay, now see, if you want to check the multiple conditions, okay, so here only one thing is that if the percentage greater than 35, then pass, else failed. Okay, so maybe let's suppose some student have the percentage exactly 35. Okay, so if your percentage are greater than 35, then you will be passed. Even if your percentage are equals to 35, then also you will be passed, right? Only you will fail if your percentage are lesser than 35. So if you want to check the multiple conditions, then you can use else if. Okay, so how we can write the else if? So here we can write else if, then here you can write one more condition. So we will check if percentage is equals to 35. Okay, if the percentage is equals to 35, then see or print student pass, or here let's write student pass just to differentiate. Okay, now see, whenever you are using else if, okay, so same thing you can write this way as well. Okay, so this way, if percentage is equals to 35. So see the way or the working of this way. So see here what I did, very first I did the return one if condition where it is checking your percentage are greater than 35 or not. So here my percentage is 35. Okay, so this condition will not get satisfied, it will come inside this or second if. So here percentage is equals to 35. It will check, is this condition true? If this condition is true, it will print this student pass. Okay, so if I save, execute, you will get the result as a student pass. See here. Okay, now the same thing we can write using else if. So here you can just write else if we save and execute, you will get the same result. See here, student pass. Okay, now what is the difference then, okay, between the previous scenario which we have seen and this scenario? Okay, so difference is that if you are writing this way, only if you are writing the first if condition, then second if condition, and then else. Okay, so difference is that if we write only if conditions, then all the conditions will be checked. Like very first it will check, is your percentage greater than 35? Then it will print if it's greater than 35. Then again it will come to line number 7. It will check, is your percentage so again it will come to line number 7. Okay, it will check, is your percentage is equals to 35? Then it will print whatever thing you have written. Okay, if this both the conditions are not satisfied, then it will come to the else. Okay, so this is the execution if you are writing only if. But if you write the else if, then what will happen? Very first it will check if your percentage greater than 35 or not. Okay, and if this condition is failed, okay, then only it will check the else if part. If this condition is satisfied, then it will never come to line number 7. Okay, but the same thing if you are writing here using the if, then whether your this condition is satisfied or not, still your compiler or your Java will compile this thing or will execute this thing line number 7. Okay, so that's the difference between only if and else if. Else if will execute only if your main if condition is not satisfied. Okay, are we clear? Any confusion, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Clear, right? You are able to understand these things, right? So see, we have seen if else. Okay, then if else if, also we have seen nested if else. Okay, inside the if we have seen how we can write the if else statement. Okay, so that's about the if condition. Now one more thing is that I just want to tell you that in the if condition, this is our expression, right? So in this expression you always have to pass the boolean values. Boolean in the sense whatever expression you are sending, the result should be in the boolean. Because see here, if you are writing percentage greater than 35, we already seen in last section or last session that if you are using the operator greater than, it will check it is greater than or not, and result will be in true or false. If it is greater than 35, then your result will be true. If it is not greater than 35, then your result will be false, right? So instead of true false, if you try to pass any other value, let's suppose here I am trying to pass some integer value. See here, as soon as I pass the integer value, it is giving me the error. And what is the error? It is saying that the required type is boolean, but you have provided int, which is not allowed in the if. Okay, so if we save this and execute, let's see what error we are getting. See here, incompatible types, int cannot be converted to boolean. Okay, so here you always need to pass the boolean value in the if condition. Okay, it will not take any other value. Okay, so if you try to pass integer, or maybe let's suppose you are trying to pass some character, then same error will come. So in the if expression, only allowed values are true and false. If you pass true, it will work. If you pass false, it will work. Okay, but even if you try to pass like this, T capital R U V, then also it will give the error. Why? Because this true is not have any meaning in the Java. In the Java, true is, if we write this way, see here, true is the keyword. Okay, so you have to always keep in your mind this naming convention also. For the true, it is all the letters in the small, even not first letter is also, if you try to write in the capital, then it will not consider it as a true. Okay, so that is one thing. So let's make it as it is, like percentage greater than 35. Okay, so that's about the if, else if, or maybe else. Okay, now let's try to understand about the for loops. Okay, or no, very first let's try to understand the switch case. Okay, so now see here, let's suppose here we have two conditions, right? That the if percentage is greater than 35, student will be passed. If percentage greater than or is equal to 35, then student will be passed. Let's suppose if we have some more conditions here, let's suppose 10 or 15 conditions. Okay, then it will be very much difficult, or the code will not be in much readable format. Okay, so they have introduced one more concept which will do the same work like this if, else if, else if, else if. Okay, so what is that concept? We call it as a switch statement. Okay, so now let's understand how that switch work. Okay, so very first let me just remove all the things and come to my ketone. Okay, so here, see, all these things are done, the switch statement. Okay, now if I go to the next slide, see here, switch means what? We have the switchboard, right? And in the switchboard, if you see, we have different buttons here. Okay, for each button dedicated task is there. Let's suppose here this is our the first one is for the fan. If I press this button, then maybe your fan will get started. Okay, then if I press the second button, this one, maybe your TV will get on. Okay, if I press the third button, then maybe any other equipment in your home will get started. Okay, so each button in your switch have the dedicated start or dedicated task. Okay, let's suppose here you have kept your charger, and if you press this button, then maybe your mobile charger will get started. Okay, so same way we have the switch statement in our Java. In the switch statement also, here you have the buttons. So let's suppose here we have 8 buttons. Okay, so same way in the switch statement also we have the cases, different cases. Okay, so here for the button 1, if you press the button 1, maybe your fan will start. Same way, if your first case is matched in the switch, then maybe whatever you have written in the case, that case will get satisfied. Okay, then if you start the second button or press the second button, then your TV will get start, right? For this button your mobile will get start. For the this one, maybe laptop charging will be there. Okay, so same, the concept is there like the switches in our home. The same concept in the Java is for the switch statement also. Okay, now let's understand how we can write that one. Okay, so very first if I go here and let's just remove these things. So see here, let's suppose, okay, so switch statement, let's understand how to, what is the syntax of the switch. Okay, so here you have to use the switch keyword. Inside the switch, here you have to pass the choice or option. Okay, so choice or option means that buttons. Okay, let's suppose there we had 8 buttons. Now if you press 1, it will start the fan. So same way here you have to send the choice or the option. Okay, so here let's suppose you have to take one variable, maybe int choice, and if you write it as a true or 2, Okay, then this is the switch case. After that, here we will be having different cases. So let's suppose here I have case 1. Okay, so this case 1 maybe, if you are, let's understand, or let's assume that the case 1 means the your first button, okay, of your switch. So if you are pressing the first button, then maybe your fan will get started. So here I will just print fan. Okay, and then you have to break. Okay, after that you can write the another case, maybe case 2. So if user press the second button, then maybe your TV will get started. Okay, then you have to break it. So same way here you can actually write the multiple cases. Okay, and at the last you have to write one default case as well. Why we write this default case? Because let's suppose user is entering some invalid input. Okay, or maybe if from that switch, if you have not pressed anything, then nothing will work, right? So that case you can just write one default case, and here you can just print some message here like invalid option or invalid choice, that way. Okay, and here also you need to break. Okay, so this way you can write the switch cases. So see here, very first let's suppose this is the input. Okay, so here we have inputted the choice as a 2. So here the choice will go as a 2. Then in the case it will check, here we have case 1, you have passed the input as a 2. So this 1 is not equals to 2, so this case will not get executed. Then it will check for the second case. So here we have the case 2. So this 2 and this 2 match, so it will come inside this case, it will print TV, and then here we have breaked it. Okay, so break means what? It will not go to the next case. Immediately your program will get stopped. Okay, or it will come out of your switch. Okay, and then you will get the output only as a TV. Okay, so now let's do it in in this program. Okay, so very first let's just do the same thing. Now let's suppose here I have to provide the choice. So I have taken one integer variable choice, and here maybe choice is 2. Then we have to write switch. Here you need to pass the choice. Okay, after that you have to write different cases. Okay, so let's suppose here I have case 1, and this case 1 is for the fan. So I will just print fan, and then you have to break it. Okay, after that you can write the another case, case 2. So this case 2 is for TV. So here I will print TV, then maybe you can break. After that the same way you can write the another case. Okay, so case 3. So this 3 or this option 3 or the third button may be for your mobile. So I will just print mobile, and here we can just break. Okay, now if user is entering other than this 1 2 3, then maybe we will write one default case, and here we can just write please enter valid input. Okay, and after that you can just break. Okay, now if we save here, and here we have passed the input as a 2. So in the switch this 2 will come. Case 1 will not get satisfied, so it will come to the case 2 and it will print TV. And here you have returned the break, so it will immediately come out of this switch. Okay, if we save this and execute, you will get the output as a TV. Okay, so let's see here, you are getting the output as a TV. Okay, but now let's suppose if you don't write the break. Okay, let's understand the importance of this break statement. Okay, now let's suppose you don't keep this break statement. You don't keep this break statement. Okay, now if I save and execute the program, you will see the difference in the output. Okay, see here, Here you are able to see TV, then mobile, and then please enter valid input. Why? Because see here, you have passed the choice as a 2, so here your choice will get matched. It will come inside, it will just start your TV. Okay, then even if you don't pressed the second button or third button, still your mobile charge will start. After that, even if you have entered the valid input, still it is telling us that please enter a valid input. Okay, so see, break statements are important because every case is meant for dedicated task, right? When you, or let's suppose if I open this thing, see here, every button is meant for the dedicated task, right? If you are pressing the button 1, then it should start only fan, or it should not start like your TV or your mixer or your mobile or your laptop, right? So you have to give that statement like break, so that it will just perform the dedicated start. Whatever task you have assigned to each option or each button, only that should be happen. Okay, so now if you go here, you have to write the break always in the each case, otherwise all the statements will get executed. Okay, so here just keep break, here also just keep the break, save and execute. Now you will get the result as a TV because you have passed here the case as a TV. Now if you pass something else, maybe 3, save this and execute, then you will get the case 3. See here, in the case 3 we have written the mobile, so maybe here you will get the output as a mobile. Are we clear with the switch statement? Any confusion? Everyone
Clear.
clear, right? Okay, now see, in the switch statement, okay, in the switch statement you can pass the integer value and you can pass the character value as well. Okay, so now here we have created the int variable. So now instead of integer, if you want to pass the character value, then also it will allow. Okay, so how we can do that? Let's suppose here I want to pass the character thing, so char, and here I will write option, and here maybe option B I want to pass. Okay, so now this option we can pass as an input here. Now in the case, okay, so this is a label, right? 1 2 3 4, then this label also we need to modify. So here it will be in the character. Now A, then maybe for the 2 I will write B, for the 3 I will write C. Okay, now if we save, then here we have passed the option as a B, so your B case will get matched and this TV will get printed. Okay, so this is the another point about the switch. You can pass the integer and character. So now let's suppose if we pass the double or maybe float, see here, it will not allow. It will say incompatible type. Only allowed type in the switch are integer and character. Okay, so here let's pass option, save and execute. Now if you execute, you will see the output as a TV. See here, TV, right? Clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now if you are clear with the switch statement, then let's remove this. Or before that, just I want to tell you how to take the input from the user. Okay, so let's suppose here I am hard coding the values, right? Here 3 or B, these are hard coded values. In the real time programs we never hard code any value. always we should give the provision to the user so that user can enter the value. Okay, so now how to take the input from the user? So to take the input from the user, we have the scanner class. We can make use of that class. So let's write here the scanner, and if you see, this scanner class is coming from the java.util package. See here, this scanner class is present inside your java.util package. Now you can create the object of this scanner. So scanner sc is equal to new scanner, and here as you want to take the input from the user, you can write here system dot in. Okay, so this way first you need to create the object of the scanner class, and now let's suppose you want to take the input from the user. So let's enter here enter choice, and let's suppose this option which we have hard coded, now I want to take from the user. So character option is equal to, and now if you see, this is of type character. So here maybe we can write sc dot next thing. Next we don't have anything for the character, you can just use next. Okay, which is for the, let me just check, required type is char and provided is a string. Okay, so let me just see if we have anything for the character. No. Then next, let's go to the scanner class first. Okay, and let's see if we have anything for the character or not. If you want to check the documentation, you always just command click or control click. Okay, and here let's see how many methods we have, or do we have the any method for the character or not. Okay, so no, see, for the character I think we have another class which is this buffered reader. Okay, so we will see that maybe in the coming sections, but for now we will be using this scanner class. Okay, so now let's suppose here I want to take the input for the integer. Then how we can take? Int ch is equal to, then whatever object you have created from that scanner class, that object, and then for the integer you have the specific method which is int. Okay, so you can just use that method. Now you can just comment this thing, and here you can pass this ch to this switch statement, and here also you need to change the label from character to integer. So let's suppose 3. Now if we save this program and execute, then it will ask you to enter the input, and whatever input you have entered, based on that input only the choice will get matched. Okay, so now see here in the console, it is asking you to enter the choice. So now let's suppose I want to send the choice as a 3, then whatever you have written for case 3 will get matched and it will get printed, right? Now let's suppose if we execute the program one more time, and here I print the choice as a 8, or I provide the input as a 8, then see here it is printing that please enter a valid input. Why? Because very first it will start from this case 1 2 3, nothing get matched, so directly it will come to the default and it will print that you have entered the invalid output. Okay, or please enter the valid input. Okay, so this way you can take the input from the user. So this is for the integer type. Now if you want to take the input in the string, then how you can write? You can write here string str is equal to sc dot next. See here, the next method is meant for the string input, so you can just use sc dot next. Okay, so same way actually you have different methods in this scanner class. If you see here, we have next int, then maybe next big decimal, then boolean, then byte. So this type of very much different methods we have, which we can use from this scanner class. For now, just understand this next method is for the string type input, and next int method is for the integer type input. Okay, so this way we can take the input from the user. Okay, so now onwards we will be never hard coding any value, we always take the input from the user. Okay, are we clear with all the concept which we have seen today? Anyone have any confusion?